Hello and welcome to Beyond the Headlines with Bailey Huffstetler. He is away this week at Vacation Bible School, so you've got me, guest host Robbie Harvey, and Ted Engel, our District 12 Public Defender, serving Bledsoe, Franklin, Grundy, Marion, Ray, and Sequatchie counties. He's also a leader in our local Republican Party.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Thanks for being here. We also have our candidate for the Rhea County Executive, Adam McRorie, with us tonight. And we've got a few questions to ask him. So.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking time to watch with us tonight.
Yes, so Adam, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We know you were at the debate, and that went great. And so thanks for volunteering to do this. We've got a few questions for you. Starting off is, what is your vision for Rhea County over the next 4 years if you were to win this election?
You know, I think it's a conversation that we have to have with each of our communities. Not every community wants to be the same, so I believe it's really a community-by-community discussion. And I look forward to meeting with the local leadership in each of the municipalities and, trying to see what their vision is. Nobody wants to be, nobody wants to be Cleveland with all the traffic and all that mess. And at the same time, there's areas in our county that want growth, but they won't manage growth. So I think that's one of the biggest things as far as vision for the county is going out and meeting with the local leaders and the population, the residents of each area in our county, and trying to develop a plan that will satisfy what they're looking for.
Okay. So what industries should Rhea County be pursuing right now?
Well, I look forward to working with the Tennessee Board of Regents, the TCAT over there at the new Chattanooga State Building. They're teaching a lot of trade skills. College isn't for everyone, and I look forward to working with them. But I think that as far as recruiting industry, we need to be kind of picky, kind of selective in what industries we bring in. Now, to be selective, that's where we've got to improve the trade skills and make sure that that we're providing the employees that more selective employers are looking for, higher paying jobs, more kind of tech savvy jobs, things that require a little more knowledge. I know the maintenance program over there at the Tennessee Board of Regents, the old Tennessee Board of Regents, where they're teaching the industrial maintenance. I mean, it's a lot more than just what maintenance used to be. And so I think that's the key to recruiting better industry, is to make sure that we are selective and that we provide the workforce that those industries are going to need.
Adam, I want to ask you, you mentioned a moment ago a phrase that kind of piqued my interest about people want growth, they want managed growth. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Rhea County is a growing place. A lot of people are moving in from other places. They're attracted by beauty, our natural beauty, our recreational activities, our lack of traffic in many cases. How can the county manage that growth while preserving our character, our rural character here in Rhea County?
So I think it's just a lot of just like I said, managed growth. I know that in the city of Dayton, there's ordinances in place that you have access roads, so that if we use that properly, then we shouldn't have so many entrances onto the highway. There should only be one traffic light that serves an area with an access road. So I think that's something, in some places it's already kind of gotten a little out of hand, over time with just growth. But I think if we go ahead and get ahead of that, that's going to be something that we can manage. Now, it's funny you bring up traffic and people moving in here. I a couple of years ago met there's a family that moved in here from California, and the father of one of the younger families, it was like multi-generational family that moved here from California, but he had a handyman business, and he had lived in the Los Angeles area, and he could only typically get in like 2 jobs per day because of the amount of time that he sat in traffic. Now I get frustrated down here when I'm 4 or 5 cars back in line at the traffic light, but for him, this is not traffic because, he's used to, sitting for hours in traffic. Whereas here, if you're 20, 30 minutes, getting from one place to another, and he was just amazed at, and of course that influenced the prices that he was charging, because, if he was only getting 2 jobs per day done in California, and he could come here and he could do 4 or 5 projects in a day. Of course, he was able to price things differently as well, so that he wasn't spending so much time sitting in traffic. So it's all perspective. It's all we'll go to Gatlinburg and sit in traffic, but we get upset if there's 4 or 5 cars at the red light. I'm the same way. So
speaking of that growth and the roads, there's been a big discussion this week in Spring City about shutting Gap Road. I know that as you go up, they've kind of just put some gravel on top and kind of fixed it here and there throughout the years. But even in the extreme, like north or the south, and I guess that's not really extreme north, going to Grandview, we have businesses that are leaving their trucks and stuff down at the Big Apple because they don't want to go up shut in. So how do you plan to address road maintenance and transportation concerns? Because we do have growth. We have growth like that we need to be able to get our trucks up and down our roads. And I mean, the mountain is not that far away. I mean, it's 10 minutes. It shouldn't be. It's no further than driving out Highway 30, So getting up to the mountain shouldn't be that big of a deal. But when our roads are not where they're supposed to be, how do you plan to attack that concern?
I think our highway department is doing a great job. They've made some good strides. I was up in Whites Creek this past week up at Whites Creek Road. I hear all the time that the north end feels left out. So we went to the furthest north subdivision we could find and just started door to door. But that subdivision, they came in. It was the former Newport Resort out there.
Yes.
And if you haven't been out there, I mean, it's still a gorgeous place. But the county has come in and they paved Whites Creek Road, and then all the side streets, Tanya and I can't think of all the Reeds and Charlotte and all those out there in that subdivision. They came in and they did tar and chip. So which the tar and chip is way better than what they had before. They've improved it so much so that some of the residents now are kind of fussing because cars are coming by faster than they think they should now. So I said, well, that's what happens when you build a speedway out here. But, I think overall, we're trying to make some strides towards fixing the roads. I know there are areas like that shutting Gap Road, it's probably been 6 months since I've been up that way. But I know there's some turns and stuff out there that are, getting a little bit dangerous. And that's something that, I think we got to work, with our, even with our state partners to try to help identify, some monies that can be spent to fix that. But overall, I think our highway department is making strides. They seem to be budgeting well and trying to use every dollar to get as many miles as they can in paving. And it's just going to take a little bit of work. It's going to take a little bit to catch up and to get some stuff going. I was glad to hear the other day I spoke with Mr. Wilkie, and he said that they have their own paving machine now. And I said, well, do you have enough dump trucks to run the paving machine? He said, yes. And I said, what about employees? He said, yes. So I think the biggest thing going forward is to try to make sure that they have enough funding and that we figure out even alternative funding avenues through grants or anything like that to try to augment that program and supplement it and get our roads back up to standards.
Thank you.
Adam, if I could ask you, so I know you a little bit outside of before tonight, right?
Right.
I know that you have been as your career, most of it's been as a firefighter, and you were assistant fire chief at Dayton. Now you work for the fire marshal's office, correct?
Yes, sir.
How will that experience color affect your performance as county executive?
Okay. Yeah, it's good question. Well, let me back up just a little bit. I got to tell a little backstory. As a toddler, I was actually a survivor of a fatal house fire. My parents had dropped me off with a babysitter, and this was early '80s, and her clothing actually caught fire while cooking breakfast, and she actually perished in that fire. So I think that's one thing that I think has influenced me throughout life. And I used to take a lot of our new firefighters. I would take them to the cemetery where she was buried, and we would go to her headstone, and I would just tell them, guys, this is emergency services is not something you get into to get wealthy. It's something that you have to have a passion for, that you have to really want to make a difference. So, yeah, that said, I started as a volunteer firefighter in 1995 as I was still a senior in high school. I turned 18 in November and got on the fire department in December. and then I worked my way up through career firefighter and all the ranks up to assistant fire chief, and now I'm deputy state fire marshal for the state, and I think that all those experiences, what they will really how they will benefit me as county executive is I've been used to making decisions, sometimes without all the pertinent information. So, in the heat of the moment, just having to make a decision and go with it, to try to fix things. I think, being slowed down a little bit with the fire marshal's job, it's a lot slower pace. There's nothing really emergent about that you can take time and gather a little more information before you make a decision. But, I look forward to taking that experience, working with our local emergency management, our fire department, sheriff's department, EMS. They're all doing a great job out there. And, just kind of being that sounding board for them because, I do have that experience. But then, like I say, on just the regular side, just the decision-making process, just, being able to, kind of what they call it, the OODA loop, where you take in information and evaluate it and then make a decision and then evaluate it again, and you just keep going round and round. I think that's something that I'm really good at is processing information and, making decisions.
So I know you as well outside of this, and you've helped me actually before by judging some of our ambassador programs in Spring City for our scholarship program. And we've talked about this before. So what can be done to encourage young people to stay in or return to Rhea County after college or trade school?
Yeah, so I absolutely love doing those. It's the pageant interviews for the young men.
Yes.
And I've met.
Don't call it a pageant. They'll get mad about it.
Yeah, maybe not a pageant. Okay, it's a scholarship event. But there's no way I would judge dresses and stuff. That's dangerous. You get yourself in trouble. Somebody think you saying you don't like their dress. But the young men, I've actually been able to meet Mr. Garrison. I ran into him the other day, yes. And he's I guess a sophomore now at University of Tennessee Knoxville. Right. He'll be a sophomore this year, and it was just awesome getting to meet those guys and getting to. He's running a career in real estate now while he's going to college, and so I think it's just awesome, and it's great to give them an opportunity to work on public speaking. So and so I kind of campaigned on this before that I want to make it where our kids have something to return to, and my kids, my son's a senior at ETSU in Johnson City. My daughter will be a sophomore this year at Vanderbilt there in Nashville. And, I want to give them the opportunity, create opportunities here that they can return to. Like I said, college is not for everyone. Mm-hmm. So, I want to create opportunities for those that have gone off to college to come back and pursue careers here. I actually tried to talk my son into doing accounting because, there's several of the CPAs here that are retiring now. But then at the same time, working through the trade schools and making sure that, there's trades type activities. I mean, you can go into. I ran into a young lady the other day who was telling me about going to welding school, and she went to work for the local in Chattanooga, and I mean, she's making bank. Mm-hmm. So, but she's traveling around doing welding, and I think that's something that we just we have to keep exploring. A lot of those people that a lot of people that work in trades, they travel to work and then they come back here, and I think that's a maybe untapped group of young people that, we can, rather than them just move somewhere and stay, if we can get them to travel for work and, keep their home base here.
Adam, if I can piggyback off that a little bit, you mentioned that you want to kind of create an environment people want to come back to and remain. One of the benefits of being really politically involved is I get to hear everybody's stump speeches over and over and over again, right? And so I think if we had – obviously, we have a three-way race for county executive, and you're asking for that job, right? And I think if Ron Travis were here, one of the things he would say is that he's been a state representative since 2012 and has a lot of experience in state government that he can draw on, try to bring resources to the county. Likewise, if Jack Kaufman were here, I think Jack would probably say that he's run a successful nonprofit helping Rhea Countyans. What about your background and experience? How do you compete with that? Why should a person say, okay, this is the guy based on the experience he's got when they have these other options?
Right. So yeah, I'm not a career politician. I've actually never held elected office. So while some people might view that as a disadvantage, I really view it as an advantage because I don't feel like I owe anybody. I don't have any obligations to anybody. And as far as my experience, I'm a problem solver. I love taking out, hearing out an issue, listening to all the sides, and trying to, then come up with a solution. So I think that's probably one of my biggest strengths is problem solving. I also take great pride in team building. And one thing that I know as well, even just being assistant fire chief, is I don't have to be the best at everything. I don't have to know everything. What I do have to do is surround myself with people that do know that information. And so just the other day, I was on the phone with a representative from the Southeast Tennessee Development District. Had some questions come in from a neighbor concerning some property issues. And so I reached out to the Southeast Tennessee Development District. So, you've got resources like that, whether it's through, like I say, Southeast Tennessee Development or CTAS, the County Technical Advisory Service at UT. I am realistic that I don't know everything, and I don't have to know everything. I just have to know who to call, and that's something I'm really good at, is reaching out and asking for help when I need it. I know the people to call. So, I think that's, probably my biggest advantage is, just that kind of stuff. I don't feel like I have to have had, I can do research. I can, figure out the answers to issues, doing my own research. And I think sometimes that's better than hearing it, just from people who are, who maybe have a preformed opinion. It's good to do your own research and try to come up with a best solution.
Okay. So you've spoken about transparency before. So what specific steps would you take to make county government more open and accountable?
I'll tell you, I was really impressed at the county commission, and I see now that the Dayton City Council is also live streaming their meetings, and I love that. They're live streamed, and then they're both recorded for historical purposes, so that you can go back and view them. But also, one thing that I think we really need to take into the future is currently we publish a lot of stuff in the newspaper, a lot of official information from the government. We publish it in the newspaper, and to be honest with you, I don't know what the readership of the newspaper is now, but I can't imagine that it's what it used to be. So we're down to one newspaper a week. So, I want to take that into the future, take it into the now, and make sure that we're communicating with everybody. A lot of people get their information via social media. Also, I think if we use the county government website and use social media to direct people to the official information, so that they're getting good information, I think that's something that I really want to press, is to make sure that everyone's aware, and then just to hold routine communications with everybody. Just have weekly updates on what's going on in the county this week. What did I do? What did I see? Who did I talk to? And there's always going to be some things. If it's an industry, there might be some things that you're not allowed to say, because of non-disclosure agreements or something like that. But I think that just communicating with the public, communicating with our local governments, and even just as simple as maintaining Spring City hours. Just have some hours during the week that we're in Spring City, just to make sure to give them equal opportunity. They don't have to drive all the way to the south end of the county to make contact. Those are just things that I have in mind that I would like to do, and I'm open to ideas.
Kind of on that same vein of transparency, you mentioned having more engagement on social media from the county. What is just your general philosophy on how public resources, taxpayer dollars, public property should be used and utilized?
So, taxpayer, as far as government, I believe in less government, obviously. I think that for the most part, the government, if you look back at the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and that sort of thing, you see that all that stuff is written to protect the citizens from the government. And so, I really believe that if you take that stance and you make sure that we're doing government for the people, doing, my big slogan I've been saying is people, not politics, but to make sure to take care of people and not government taking care of government. So, that's kind of a philosophy of mine. I think that you have the right to pursue life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, but it doesn't necessarily say that the government needs to do all that for you. So, I think that's just something that, I think the government's job is to ensure that your safety, ensure your rights to live your life. So I don't know if that exactly answered your question, but maybe sort of, kind of.
I think so, and I actually want to ask a follow-up based on that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make somebody mad who I talked to earlier tonight.
Okay.
I saw my favorite police officers today. I won't name him on here.
Yeah.
But he said that "Oh Lord, don't ask Adam about flock cameras."
Oh my goodness.
So there's been a little bit of controversy on social media because this all feeds into public safety and social media, like you were just talking about. And you've started certainly a discussion about flock cameras, license plate readers. For those who don't know, we're talking about license plate readers or surveillance cameras that are out on the roadways. Can you kind of explain your position on that?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of conversation this week. Golly, bum, that post on Facebook just absolutely caught fire and took off. But I think that people are talking about that stuff, and I talked to a police officer. I won't name names, but I've talked in detail with a police officer who has told me many cases that he's been able to solve or get leads on based on use of the flock cameras. And we say flock, and that's another thing that he wanted to make sure that I was aware of. Flock is a brand name. It's kind of like saying a skill saw when you're talking about a rotary saw. So there's a much bigger camera system. Motorola has I think it's called Vigilant. And it's the same sort of thing. It's just a different brand name. People are kind of hung up on Flock. But he informed me that Flock is taking pictures of the rear of vehicles, taking pictures of they're trying to get the license plate in the picture. But then also through artificial intelligence, it's able to identifies make and model. And then it identifies like if there's a bumper sticker, if there's a dent in the door, if it's got a busted tail light, something like that. And from what he's told me, they can go in and, put in details that they're looking for a white Ford, and it's maybe it wasn't model, it was just make and color. It was make and color. But they can go in and say they're looking for a white Ford with a bumper sticker. And, then it'll pull up, and they don't do it nationwide. They just search it, based on the area they're looking at. So, I see the benefits of it. I believe that somewhere down the road there's going to be a Supreme Court case on it because of Fourth Amendment violation concerns that maybe it's an illegal search, that it's taking pictures. I'm not a lawyer, you are, so but I do believe that somewhere down the road there's enough public interest in it right now. There's enough public concern that I think we're probably going to see a court case and or legislation, looking at that. He assures me that the information is only stored on the servers for 30 days. I guess my question would be whose servers, because it's not, doesn't sound like it's a government controlled server. It sounds like it's, somewhere out there on a private business's server, which, then you got to worry about security and that sort of thing. But, he and I have had some very respectful conversations about it, and he's enlightened me a bunch on, the uses of the cameras. But like I say, I still have some concerns because, and a lot of people in our community obviously are very concerned about their Fourth Amendment rights being violated by being constantly photographed. It's nothing that they could put a police officer out there doing the same thing, sitting out there taking down tag numbers all day long. And then this is just kind of an automated way of doing that that's always on. It's always watching. So, I do have Fourth Amendment concerns about that. Well, that was a showstopper.
No, that was
a showstopper.
That was a lot. Let's see what our next question.
Hot, yeah.
What's our next question?
Let's not talk about.
Let's see. We can jump around then. Okay. So I want to commend you for reaching out and talking to people who disagree with you.
Yeah.
And having a respectful discussion. So I think that segues into, and for those at home, we've got Bailey's list of questions here, and I've been deviating from it pretty badly. but kind of segueing back into that, you're going to have disagreements with the county commission if you're the county executive.
For sure.
How do you handle those?
So I think I learned a long time ago as a young fire officer, and this is what I taught a lot of fire officers coming up, doing training, is, just number one, listen to people, hear their concerns. If you can, write down their concerns. That way you remember it, but don't ever say, well, I'm going to take care of that. My go-to is, let me check into that. Let me do a little more research, because I think where you make people mad is if you make them think that you've automatically taken their side and you're automatically going to go do something, in the way they want it done. Because if you do that, and then if you say that to the other party as well, now they both feel like that you have taken their side, and then when you have to choose or you have to find a solution somewhere in the middle, everybody feels, kind of violated. They feel like they haven't been heard. So, I tell my wife all the time, there's three sides to every story. There's your side, my side, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. And sometimes it's not necessarily, truth, I guess. It's perspective. You can talk to somebody on the south end of the county about an issue and then go to the north end of the county and get a totally different perspective on something. And it doesn't mean that either one of them are wrong. It's just perspective. It's how people view things differently. So, my advice, my kind of way that I like to handle, any kind of disagreements like that is to hear people out. Maybe even scribble down some notes on what they, what their concerns are. Reach out to the, tell them, hey, let me do some more research. I've made life or death decisions, throughout my career in emergency services, but if it's not a life or death decision, we have time to explore it just a little bit more and come to a good resolution. I think that's the way to do. It's just to, slow down a little bit, pump the brakes, and, try to come to a good resolution that works for everybody. And I think oftentimes if you do that and you bring back the facts to the table, a lot of times people are emotional. And if you come back with facts and we sit down and we talk about facts instead of emotions, we can usually come to an agreement that works for everyone.
Well, I think that dovetails nicely with another question, another one of Bailey's questions, and that is this. So you mentioned different parts of the county, different perspectives. Mm-hmm. And we have three very distinct incorporated communities inside Rhea County. Yeah. And then unincorporated communities that are different still. There's sometimes a little bit of a rivalry there.
Oh, yeah.
How, as county executive, do you believe you could try to bridge that and make the county work with Graysville, Spring City, and Dayton and get kind of everybody on the same team as much as possible?
Yeah, so I'll say, I've noticed as of late, the Rhea County Commission and the Dayton City Council have been working together on a lot of projects, and they've been holding joint workshops where they all get together and, they just kind of hear one another out and they, work back and forth and they figure out the issue. I think we can expand that to Spring City and to Graysville as well, to have those joint workshops. Maybe have just time to talk about things and try to see everybody's perspective on everything. The good thing about the county, you got county commissioners who represent each of these areas in the county, and I think it's imperative for them as well to be have their finger on the pulse of their area that they represent. That way, when they do come to county commission meetings, they're representing the people of their district. That's the whole purpose of that, is to make sure that they come in representing the people of their district and the interest and the needs of those people. But, I do think if we had some more joint type workshops where we get together and kind of bridge that gap, I think that's going to clear up a lot of things. I was talking to my dad the other day. He was a high school teacher at Ray Central High School, and I said 1976, and he corrected me. It was 1974 was when they moved to Rhea County High School in Evansville. So, but still, that was over 50 years ago, that the two high schools, Ray Central and Spring City, merged into Rhea County High School. We're in our second high school since that happened 50 years ago. But there's still definitely a divide. I don't put on rose-colored glasses and try to pretend like it doesn't exist, because it does. And it all goes back to perspective, So, I think that's just something we got to work through. Something that is probably always going to be there. We just got to figure out how to better manage it and ensure everybody's getting what they need.
So I'm looking at the time here. I think we're around our time limit. So if you, I know you can talk.
I could go another hour or so if you want.
So if you want, if there's people out there that are undecided right now, we've got voters that are undecided at this point. Where early voting starts Friday. Is that right? Friday, the 17th.
17th.
Yes, sir.
And so then election day is August 6th. If they're undecided right now and they still don't know who they're going to vote for and who they really choose, tell them why they should vote for you.
Whew, okay. Well, I think I've been here in the community. I've been present. I've served as a public servant my entire adult life. Whether through the fire service, I'm involved with the local amateur radio club, which provides emergency communications. Just a myriad of things that I've been involved in. But I've been here. I've been present. I've kind of had my fingers on the pulse of the community. And there was a question that came up today about sign placement in certain people's yards, different kind of demographic groups throughout the county. And I think what you'll see is that there are definitely people who want to keep things exactly the same. They don't want to change at all. And change is inevitable. It's going to happen. So, I think there's a group that wants to just keep everything exactly the same, even though things are changing around us. On the flip side, I think if you're looking for change, if you want better, and I think we all want better. I mean, I think the majority of the people in the county want better. They want, and not necessarily big change, but just adaptation. Just like using the social media accounts to send out information. We're going to have to adapt to changing times. And but at the same time preserve why people love this area and why people are moving to this area. So I think it's kind of a little tricky walk there, but I think that we can do it. So I would say to the voters, if you're undecided, get on social media. We made a lot of table talk videos, and they're still coming out daily. We're putting out table talk videos on different topics. Also, go back and watch the debate from a couple weeks ago. Go back and watch the debate. You can find it, I think, on the Facebook page for the Rhea Observer, and also there's a YouTube channel if you want to sit in your recliner and watch it, on the big screen. The audio and the video don't exactly match up, but the audio is great. Go back and watch that. And I think it will help you make a decision. I think you'll see that I've done my homework. I'm prepared. I'm ready to start day one, and I'm ready to embrace change that is coming, whether we're ready for it or not. So I'd kind of implore the voters to make a good decision and then vote. I mean, get out and vote. Sitting at home on your hands is not going to do any good. So. We have over 20,000 registered voters in Rhea County, and we do good to have 5,000-6,000 turn out. So do your homework, be informed. I've been really impressed, especially with the young people. There's a large group of young people that are really starting to do their research and get involved in politics, and I'm impressed to see them. So they're doing their homework. Do your homework. Get out and vote.
All right. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate you being here tonight and talking to us. If there's anybody that would like to be on the show, if you contact Bailey Hefstadler, he is glad to put you on here. It's every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. We're at BKP Studio, so we thank you, Bob, for having us out tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Ted.
Thanks for having me.
And then we've got an event this Friday, July 17th, is Meet the Candidates. This is hosted by the Rhea County Republican Party. This is at the Rhea County High School Auditorium. It's at 6 p.m. It's on Facebook everywhere. I think Bailey's got it on his Rhea County Observer Facebook page as well. And so that's it. That's all we have tonight. And as Bailey says, and I have the same sentiment, God bless Rhea County and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.